Kaufhold of the USA archery team, and we're going to have an interesting session tonight, talking to Casey about her successes in the last few years. And I'll let Casey introduce herself. I don't think I'm qualified enough to introducing Casey, so I'll let you. I'll let you. You have so many accolades. I'll let you have the honor. So, Casey, tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Casey Kaufhold. I am part of the USA archery team. I competed in my first Olympic Games this year in Tokyo. I won my first World Championship medal this year. I was silver. I've been competing internationally with the World Cups for about 3 years, 2.5, 3 years. And yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Okay, great, great. So, Casey, the first time we met, I'm not sure if you remembered, but I have it queued up here. So let's see. I'll play a little bit of it.
I was so young.
Yeah, 14 years old. Let me see if you let me know if you're hearing it. How far do you want to go? How far do
Oh, I was so little.
Yeah.
Great accomplishment.
It's been great talking to you, Casey, and I hope you meet your goals.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that was way back in 2018 at
Yeah.
the Lancaster Archery Center, and I've been following you. Well, before that, I've been following you before that, but it's good to see what your plans were then,
Mhm.
and what you have done to date to actually achieve some of those plans, right? So
Mhm.
so in terms of that particular time in 2014, um, where were you at that point in time as an archer? What had you recently accomplished?
When I was 14, you said?
Yes, yes, at 14. I think you had just finished the GT Open.
Yeah, that was right after GT Open. That was my first senior international event. And it was kind of crazy to think like I won my first senior international event, but I came off a really good season, um, like the start of the season, and went into the classic and internationals. Those all went well. That was still early, like in the process of me like going toward my Olympic goals and all that. In that summer, I first competed in my senior World Cups, and that's where I had seen you again in Colombia and talked with you. And
Yes.
yeah, just that whole season was great just for experience. Like I still am so young, but I was even younger back then, and still so new to everything. So it was good to get that baseline down of experience and then build off of that.
Yeah, that's really great, really great. So in terms of between that time and now, you're breaking a few records, right? Can you tell us a little bit
Yeah,
of some?
I've broke. Yeah, I've broken a couple of records since then. I have most of our national records. I also have a couple of world records, indoors and outdoors. I have some of the cadet and junior records for international records. I'm looking to get those senior ones yet. Haven't quite gotten there, but
Okay, all
I
right.
have.
Yes.
But yeah, I've achieved lots of national and a couple world here and there.
Records. So for those listening, we have a lot of young folks, who tuning into this at the moment, and who will look at it after as well, because it's going to be on our little channel. Could you tell us, what was your training regimen like, at least back in 2014, and then roll it forward to say before your preparation to qualify for the U.S. Olympic team?
So when I was younger, I would train every day. Like I would do about 200 hours a day.
Yeah.
And that was during school. So sometimes it would be a little bit less if I had a lot of schoolwork that day. And then on weekends, it would be a little bit more.
Yeah.
Um, in late 2020 and early 2021, leading up to qualifying for the games, I probably got closer to 300 arrows a day.
Yeah.
And I started doing different training, like mental training. And I started getting a lot healthier physically. Like I would do workouts, I would eat a lot healthier. Just add those sorts of things into training just because it made me feel stronger, even though it wasn't necessarily shooting arrows.
Yeah. Okay. So say that's 200 almost every day. So what about the rest and school and things like that?
Yeah, I wouldn't really take a rest day. For me, whenever I would take a day off, I would get sore, which is kind of opposite for most people.
Really?
Like most
Okay.
people, if they shoot a lot, then they get sore. For me, if I took a day off, I would get sore. So
Youth,
that's just
youth,
how
youth.
I work.
No,
Sorry.
I was saying you have youth on your side.
Oh, I'm muted.
No, you have youth. You have young. You're very young. So you
Oh,
have that.
young. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So that might be part of it. But I train every day, and then if I were to take like a rest day, I would work on a lot of school, like I said, during the school season, and just find time to like do other relaxing things. Like I'm big into yoga. I like when I exercise, I do swimming, stuff like that to kind of just still feel physically fit, but do things other than archery.
Right. Okay. So about time to line with friends and so on and family. Not much time for that, or
Yeah, I try to make as much time for friends and family as I can. It's definitely tough traveling so much. I don't really get to see everybody all the time and kind of have to schedule certain times to see people, which is kind of silly to think about. Like, you got to schedule like when you see
yeah.
whoever you want. But trying to make it work. I stay in touch with my friends pretty well because some of them are off at college. So I don't see them too often, but make sure to like call them, text them every week, and try and stay in touch as best as possible.
Right. Well, that's good. I mean, that's important as well. I mean, a good balance sort of life is
Mhm.
also very important. So let's look at the Olympic team. I know you were trying to make the Olympic team. You know, what was the experience as a very young athlete at that time? I think you would have been around 16 years old or 15, trying to make the U.S. Olympic team. How was that?
Yeah, it was weird being so young, just because like everybody was a little bit older than I was. Just difference in personality, I guess you could say at first. But as we went through like the trials process and different competitions, I really got to know the girls who were trying out for the team really well. And they would help me along with like little things, just teaching me because they have experience. And so even though I was starting the trials at the young age, like having that gap year in between, I feel like I matured a lot as a person and as a shooter. So when we started trials back up in 2021, I felt really strong and I ended up shooting really well at that trials event.
Are you the youngest female athlete to ever qualify for the Olympic team, U.S. Olympic team?
Um, I believe Denise Parker in 1988, she was 14. So she would have
Okay.
been younger than I was, but I'd say one of the youngest,
One of the
other than
youngest.
her.
Okay. So during the trials, how difficult was it? I mean, I remember you all had several matches, round robins. Could you explain to us, how does that work before you're selected?
So there are different stages to Olympic trials. This year we had four different stages, but the last two stages were combined into one. So you have like the year before the Olympics, there are two stages, and then the year of there are the second two. So it's kind of each stage is a combination of qualification rounds. Then you have round robins, which is like every archer shoots against everybody. So even if you lose a match, you just don't get a point, but if you win a match, you get a point, and then you shoot
Right.
against all the other archers. And then you do team round simulation. So you walk up to the line and you have 20 seconds to shoot your arrow, and then you shoot and you step back off the line. And then that happens six times in one end, and it's supposed to simulate how you rotate for a team round.
Right. Okay.
And some days we would do a combination of like all the different drills. Some days it would just be one drill. Some days we even did a whole 1440 round, which is two rounds of 72 arrows. So it would be a lot of arrows in one day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in doing all that, there's like a point system where you get awarded bonus points for certain scores you shoot. And like I said, if you win matches, you get a point. For arrow average, you get certain points. And as you progress through trials, those points get higher. So it's it's really important to do well at the last stages of trials, especially because those points are worth more.
Right. And I think I remember following it was quite a battle between you and Mackenzie, right? For that top spot.
She and I went like we're really close for the spot. Starting trials in 2019, we were top 2 right there, and we finished top 2 all the way through. It really could have been any of us on any given day. It just depends on who's stronger at that time.
Right, yeah, and it was very close. I mean, Mackenzie has been around for a while as well. But that's really good, to go up against someone like Mackenzie and, still come out on top. I think that's a really great achievement as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're both great competitors, and she's been doing this so long and is so experienced, and so it was an honor for me to shoot against somebody and qualify to be on a team with somebody like that.
Yes. And so when you actually made the qualification for the team, how did you feel? What was it like? Was it like,
Yeah, I felt a sense of relief almost because for me, I don't measure success in the amount of medals I win. I measure my success in the amount of goals I achieve that I set for myself. And for a long time, a goal of mine has been to make an Olympic team and compete in the Olympics. And just knowing that I finished the first step of going to the games, that was big for me. And I had my family there. My mom, my brother, and my dad were all there at trials. I had my coach there, my personal coach. She was able to be there and help me throughout. And so I was just very thankful to have all that support behind me. And it was really cool to share that experience with them.
That's really great, really great. And then the next step was, I guess, actually winning the Olympic spot.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, the U.S. Only had one men's spot and one women's spot. And since I had qualified as the top archer in the U.S., I already filled that single spot. But we wanted to qualify a team to have all 3 women and 3 men go. So once we found out who the team was, we practiced really hard. We did a little mini camp in California before we left for Paris. And then we shot in Paris. We were there a week and a half, 2 weeks early before the competition even started, just so we could get acclimated to the time, work well with each other, do a little bit of team bonding. And we shot the trials event really well. We ended up second, and the top 3 teams would qualify to go to Tokyo. So it was super important, but I think we did a really good job of keeping ourselves calm and just having it be fun. I think that was a big part of our success. We weren't nervous. We were just having fun shooting our bows and spent a great time together.
So that team dynamics really played an important role, in trying to keeping you all relaxed and focused, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I think we did a good job of keeping each other in check. We would have a breathing technique that we did before every end. We would just take a deep breath in, deep breath out, and it would relax us and get us ready to go.
Yeah, very good. And so then you in terms of the Olympics, you all made it to the Olympics as a team.
Mm-hmm.
Did your preparation change? Because the Olympics was a really strange Olympics this year, right? There wasn't any large crowds, a lot of restrictions, COVID and all of that. And then it was your first Olympics as well. So what were your thoughts, in Tokyo? How what was it like getting to Tokyo and making it actually being there?
Yeah, so I had talked to Olympians like Brady and Mackenzie and just asked how did you feel going into your first games? What was your experience? And I got good knowledge from them, but Tokyo was so specific just in the way it was organized and executed with all the COVID protocols. Nobody could really predict how it was going to feel because everybody else was used to the crowd screaming so loud you could barely hear your clicker go off.
Right.
And
yes.
When I shot in the Olympic arena, you could hear a pin drop. It was so quiet. And so nobody really knew what to expect other than knowing it was going to be different. So going into it, I wanted to focus on what I could control, and I knew I could control my shots and my thought process and all that, and I couldn't necessarily control what was going on around me. So I focused on what I know how to do instead of everything else going on.
Right. But I was watching very closely, and I think it was a I think it was a tough year for USA at the Olympics. You know, I was really rooting for you guys, hoping that you all get a medal. And you know, it didn't quite pan out. I think Mackenzie got really close. You know,
Yeah.
yeah, you know, and I think she could have. I mean, she could have won. You know, just won that one match, that one arrow, and you know, that's archery.
Mhm.
You know, but
Yeah.
how was the team feeling about that? You know, after the Olympics, what were the thoughts?
I think we were all a little disappointed coming home without any medals. It like last year or last Olympics, there was such big success with the team silver, and then Brady had a individual bronze, and I think there is a little bit of expectation that comes out of that, like having such a good games previous, and then people expect to do the same or do better next time, and sometimes that gets in your head. Other times you just got to brush it off and go with the flow. And I mean,
Yeah.
it's like the Olympics are difficult. It only comes every 4 years, hard to even qualify. So for me, I was glad to get there, and of course, like I didn't perform how I wanted to, but I learned a lot that I can apply to future games because I'm so young, and I know I
Yes.
like this
Yes.
won't be my last game, so I have
No,
a lot of time
definitely
ahead of
not.
me. Yeah, I have a lot of time ahead of me to learn from it, and hopefully see that improvement from what I learned in the future.
Yeah. No, that's great. That's great. Yeah. So they came back home. I know. Let's go into the last big competitions you had. And I have a little clip here, so I'll probably put it on screen. So just give me a sec. So let's see. Let's play a little bit of this.
In the first of the women's recurve semi-finals, the USA's 17-year-old Casey Kaufhold had the toughest challenge of all. She was up against Korea's three-time Olympic champion, Ann San. And it was the youngster who made the more impressive start to the match, taking advantage after her opponent left the door open. Another opportunity. Another opportunity taken. The teenager never looked back after that and sealed an emotional win. And it's in the 10, and Casey Kaufhold has done the unthinkable here and knocked out the triple.
Yes. So Casey, so that was a big win there. I just repeat a little bit of it so everyone could see. Were you able to hear it?
It wasn't working. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I'm hearing you good. You're fine. Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, you're good. You're good. I'm hearing you fine. Yeah, you're good.
Sorry, I
Yeah,
can't
you're fine.
hear anything. I'm trying to figure out
You
my
can't hear?
audio.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure. I'm hearing you fine. Um, so let's show.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm hearing you good. But you're not hearing me?
Sorry, I still can't.
Can't hear me? Not sure anything has changed here. Let me just take this out. Yeah. Are you hearing me better now? Are you hearing me? No? All right, let me just come off screen for a second. Yeah, are you hearing me?
Yeah, I
Put
can
that
hear
thumb
you
up if
now.
you hear me.
Sorry about that.
Okay, great. Okay, good.
Yep, I can hear you.
Yes, that's
Sorry
right.
about that.
Yes.
My audio got
Yeah.
disconnected.
That's okay. So I just played back for the World Championships, and you know that match against Ann San, right? The triple gold medal winner from the Olympics.
Yeah.
You know, I could see you were very animated for that match. Tell us a little bit about how you felt during that match.
Yeah, I felt really good after that match, and you can kind of see that in the video, just how happy, and I was more proud than anything, I think, just because I got to shoot that match at home, like in home soil, on US soil, and so that felt really good to win a medal for the US in the US. And going into the match, like knowing I was going to shoot against Ansan, like she's 3-time Olympic gold medalist. She's an amazing archer, and so I knew if I held back at all, I wasn't going to win. And so I went into it and I gave it all the effort I had, and I think that just shows, like, even though like I'm 17 years old, I've only been doing this for a couple of years internationally. Like, if you put your mind to it, you can really achieve anything. And I think that speaks volumes to more than just archery, whether it's school or your job or other sports. Like, just put in all the effort and be determined and reach for your goals. And I was really happy with that match.
Very good. I see. This is the message I really want our other athletes coming up to hear. You know, if you put your mind to it and you put your work in, you know, your example of others as well who have put their mind to it and put the work in and really achieve. And you know, we're really proud that you have done that. And of course, you know, we're looking forward to seeing you do a lot more. So we're following you very closely. But I want to ask everyone out there, if you're hearing the stream, if you have a question, you could put it in the chat. We'll see it. I can ask Casey, the question, right? So put your questions in the chat if you have one, all right? And I will ask it to her. In the meantime, so you said you have another competition coming up end of this year. What's that about? Which competition is this?
This one is the Junior Pan Am Games. That'll be in Colombia. That's late November. It's just a junior ranking event, and whoever wins the divisions in that competition automatically gets to go to the Pan Am Games, I think, or the Pan Am Championships in 2022. So if I win that, then I automatically get to go. So that's my goal going into it.
That's the first ever Junior Pan Am Games, yeah? You could qualify for. Correct?
Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
So yeah, it goes Junior Pan Am Games, Pan Am Championships, and then Pan Am Games. So it's like a whole process.
Yeah. I guess after that, you're going to be switching to the outdoors, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, one of our archers is asking a question. Let me put it up so you can see it as well. Let me see. Sure. Are you seeing it there?
Yep. So it says, how did it find out you were going to Tokyo? I think I was just so overly happy and excited because that was one of my biggest goals. So to achieve one of the biggest goals you ever set, like it meant a lot to me, and to have all that hard work I put in over the years pay off felt really good. So those were kind of the emotions that went along with it.
All right, cool. I see we have another question here. One second. Okay, so I'm sure this one. This person, yeah.
Okay. What would you say changed in your training and coaching, which allowed you to transition from first above 600 to 648 and 648 plus? I think just shooting more was like how I saw my scores start to improve, and scoring a lot. I think that's a good way to measure progress. You don't have to score every day all the time, I don't think, but just to kind of have like maybe 2 or 3 days a week that you like score and see like those little progresses a little bit each time you score. And I think as far as coaching, I started to work with my coach a lot more on the mental process, because there gets a point where you can repeat the same motion over and over again, and that gets quote unquote easy. But then you have what's up here, and what's up here is very important. For some people, that can make or break their performance. And I think getting a mental process down that you can stick to and that's positive and helpful is really important. And I saw improvement in my scores once I started doing that.
So what you're saying, the mental game really helped you a whole lot in lifting that score as well. Okay. Who's your
I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah. Who's your mental coach?
My archery coach, Heather File, she works here in Lancaster at Lancaster Archery Supply. I live in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And so she works with me with mental and physical parts of archery. And I've also worked with Troy Basham. He's actually a world champion rifle shooter. And he wrote a book called With Winning in Mind. And he wrote Lanny, his dad wrote With Winning in Mind, and Troy is his son. They have the program Mental Management Systems. And I started that about a year ago. And that has really helped me with just having, like I said, like a mental process you can stick to, and that works for you.
Yeah. Just for those listening, Troy and Lani, they wrote the book With Winning in Mind. It's a very good book on mental management, which we have in our club as well available, and we recommend.
Yeah, I have his books right here.
Yeah, great.
Let's see. He has a couple. So With Winning in Mind, that's this one.
Yes, that's a good one.
Freedom Flight. It's like more of the origins of like mental stuff, and then this one is a good one for parents and coaches. It's called Parenting Champions. Yeah, Parenting Champions.
Yeah, the only one I used to have there is the Freedom Flight. I think it's a good book I need to get as well on my library.
Okay, but yeah, they're all very good. I found each one very helpful, and I think just sometimes hearing something isn't as helpful as reading something, so it's just different type of learning.
Okay, well, here's a fun question. We have Shauna here from British Virgin Islands. She's asking a question.
Okay, what's the furthest distance you've ever shot? I tried 90 meters one time because that's what people used to shoot. Like men in a full FIDO would shoot 90 meters, and I was just like, that's so far. I just want to see if I can do it at all. That was the worst day of archery I've ever had. 90 meters is so far. I give credit to everyone who has shot 90 meters in a competition. It's so difficult. Like aiming off so hard, and like any little mistake, like it goes everywhere. Oh my goodness. But it was fun to try. I don't think I'll make it a routine practice, but it was fun to just try.
Yeah, but you know the Koreans, they should shoot for all-time FITA, which is in 90, 70, 50, 30.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's just so far.
Yeah. Let's have another question here. May have answered this one already. This is Laverne from Trindad and Tobago.
Okay. What would be your greatest challenge when going up against an archer like Ansan? I think mentally it's a big challenge, just because like she is 3-time Olympic champion, and it's like a big, but at the end of the day, like we're both archers, we've both earned our spot here. So I think mentally, like you kind of gotta level yourself a little and say like, we've both earned our spot, so this is an even match, and I'm just gonna go out and give it my all.
Great. Let's see. You have another question coming in. Let's see. It's Manny from Trindad.
Okay. Was it hard to separate training and school? How hard was it to still feel like a normal teen? I have struggled with separating training and school in the past. I started doing online school, which was a lot helpful. Like it was really helpful for me with traveling, because I could take my work with me and work it at my own pace. And I could still train a lot with doing online school. Recently I've gone back to normal in school, and it is difficult. I don't train as much as I would like to, but I think it's important for me at least to be a little social before I graduate and kind of get that high school experience, and like having a life where you travel constantly and have to train a lot. It's like not that normal teen life, like you said. But I think in my case, it's worth it to make those sacrifices, because I know archery is what I want to do more than anything. And so I'm willing to make those sacrifices for it.
Right. Okay. Cool. Let's put up another one here. It's Adrian from Trindad and Tobago.
What passes through your mind as you're in elimination matches, especially on shoot-offs? I think more about the process of the shot. rather than the outcome. I know people get really nervous about like set points and like, oh, I have to win this end, I have to win that end, but really it just comes down to shooting one good shot at a time. And for me, instead of thinking of it as like, oh, I have to have a good end every end, it's just like, I'm going to shoot a good shot every shot. And that kind of helps you break it up a little more. And to me, it's not as stressful as thinking about the outcome of the match. I like thinking about the process of it. And for one arrow shoot offs, I think that's one of the most like pressure intensive parts of archery. Like one arrow can make it or break it, but it really comes back to just your process. Like you can't affect where that arrow's going after you let it go. So set up one good shot, be confident, and whatever happens, happens.
Yes, one arrow at a time.
One arrow at
Yeah.
a time. Yep.
Yeah. I had a question, but before I come back to my question, Amani is asking another question here. It should be an easy one.
Okay. How many coaches have you had, and how did you know you had the right one? I've had a couple of coaches. I would say that I have multiple right now. When I started, at first, I was being coached by my dad. That was when I was younger and kind of just did it for fun. And then I started with, like, I guess more of a professional coach when I was about 12. Her name's Heather File. Like I said, she works here in Star Archery. And I think I knew she was like the coach I wanted to work with because I noticed how much time she was dedicating to my goals. Because, like, yes, she's a person, she has a job, she has goals of her own, but she would take so much time to put them into my goals, into what I wanted to achieve, that I noticed like no other person is going to put this much time of their life into my life, and I really appreciate that about her. So she is my main coach, but I also work with other people like Dick Tone. He was the Canadian Olympic coach for many years and coached Jay Bars, who was the 1988 U.S. Olympic gold medalist. I work with him a little bit as well. And, he's been really cool just with different tuning aspects, especially. I haven't quite found the perfect method of tuning a bow,
Right.
but he's helped me
I have
a
no
lot
questions
with.
for you on that, though. Go ahead.
Yeah, but he's helped me a lot with that and different physical parts of the shot as well. He has just a different, I guess you could say, perspective to it, that sometimes it's good to get two different perspectives because just hearing something a little different might make it click better. And that's why I like working with multiple coaches rather than one, but Heather File is still my main coach.
Yeah, she was my coach as well.
Heather?
Yeah, well, she did. She taught me level 3. US actually level 3.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yeah. That actually that athlete coach, but coach.
Okay.
Yeah. That was good. Shem has a question here. Now, Shem is one of our top youths in Trinidad. She's actually based in the US now, actually. She went across to the US this year. I don't think she finished writing the question, but I think the question is, I guess, what was your preparation for Tokyo? Training process for Tokyo is what she's asking.
Leading up to Tokyo, I was shooting a lot of arrows. That was a big part of it, just shooting a lot and working a lot on the mental process. Like I've talked about before, that's a big part of my shot and my training. And mentally going into it, I know I couldn't be 100% prepared because it was something I had never done before. So I worked as much as I could, and I feel like even though I didn't perform like I wanted to, I felt as prepared as I could have been, and I was confident regardless of what happened.
Okay, cool. So let me ask this other question here from someone here before I go to mines and tuning. So this is Aisha again. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing it right. I'm probably butchering the name. Go ahead.
Okay. So it says, how important was it for your process to get the opportunity to test yourself at stronger and stronger international tournaments like World Archery?
I guess look at international exposure.
Yeah, like leading up to international competitions, I had only done national stuff. I had done one youth international competition, but I was so young. It was like just the start. And so going into international competitions, I there were definitely some nerves that went along with it, especially being so young. Just kind of had to learn that like I think something big I've learned from being young and competing in the senior division internationally is that like I've earned my spot to be there.
Yes.
I've put in the work. I qualified for the team, and yes, I am only 17, and I started my international competitions at like 13 and 14. Like even though I was so young, like I earned my spot to be there, and I think that's a big thing for a lot of people to learn. Like even though it might feel intimidating that you're shooting against like Olympic champions or other Olympians, like you've earned your spot there, and there's a reason you're on that same shooting line.
Yeah, great. Now, I want to ask you about shooting. So the last time I saw you shooting at Lancaster, you had this long clicker extender on your bow, and I
Mm-hmm.
saw you shooting recently at the wood, and you still have it on there. So tell me, how come you still have that on?
I don't know. I like shooting with the clicker on my sight bar rather than on my riser because for me, I can see the clicker like moving at the end of the arrow point if it's mounted on my bow, and I don't like to see that because it makes me anticipate the shot. So
Uh,
having it like farther away and tucked in kind of behind the riser, like on that sight bar, I don't
yes.
see it as well, and so it does like it doesn't make me anticipate the shot. And I know that's like something specific to me that doesn't usually happen to
Right,
many
right, right.
people, but it's just something I noticed in the middle of my shot when I have it on the actual riser instead of extended on the sidebar.
I thought it was a growth thing. I thought you were growing. I think you're gonna leave it long, and then
Yeah,
you're gonna bring it in.
I haven't grown since then. It's in the same spot.
That's good. Yeah, I was also wondering about it. But I guess you have to use what works for you. I think that's fine. So another scene. Yeah, I think that's last of the questions. So yeah. So Casey, well, I think we'll just wrap up now. I'm really happy to have this opportunity to interview you
Yeah,
again.
thank you for
Of
having
course,
me, and thank you everybody for listening and asking questions. I appreciate it.
yeah, and of course, we will be occasionally, keeping in contact to make sure we interview probably even once a year, or as things go along.
Yeah,
I have to
sounds
reach
good.
out to yeah, I have to reach out to Jack as well because I interviewed Jack in Colombia.
Hmm.
And see how he's doing. He had a really big win at that last event. Really happy for him.
Hmm. Yeah, he
Yeah,
did awesome. I was actually pulling his arrows during all those matches, and like every
right.
time like he would win each one, and I would come back and I say, "I'm your lucky arrow puller," and I pulled for him on his last match, and I was like, "I'm the lucky arrow puller." Yeah, it was a lot of fun. He was so
Yeah, yeah,
excited, and like I'm
yeah.
so happy for him. Yeah, he was just over the moon.
I could just imagine. I see imagine. Actually, I need to reach out to his mom or his dad to probably get him on his program as well.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been great, Cassie. And we'll stay in touch. Yeah.
Yep. Thank you very much.